Three, two, one, and we're live. Today I'm going to be taking you to a place called Eswatini or Swaziland. Let me show you quickly where it is. Great, welcome to everyone that's joined. Welcome, Christopher. If you're in the chat, just say hi. So my past few tours have all been in Hong Kong. I mean, not in Hong Kong. There was one in Hong Kong and the rest have been in South Africa. Today we're going to go into a country, a small little country that's in South Africa. It's on the map you can see right now. There's a little pink area called Swaziland. South Africa has two tiny countries within its borders. One is Swaziland and the other one is Lesotho. Swaziland is a landlocked country in southern Africa and is bordered by Mozambique. There you can see on the right hand side in the light green is Mozambique. And to the northeast is South Africa, and to the rest of it, the other side, so it's surrounded by South Africa. Now it's a really small country. I'm going to give you another little picture of it. Here's a little close-up. So here you can see. I want to focus on the map. It's a really small country. It's only about 200 kilometers from north to south and 130 kilometers east to west. Now it used to be called Swaziland. Today it's called Eswatini, and I'm sure you've heard about before. Like there's a place in Austria for people that if you go to the Austrian airport, there's a place there for people that meant to go to Australia. So the Swaziland sort of like sounded like Switzerland. So I don't know if they had a desk, but I'm sure there were a lot of people that made a booking without looking and may have accidentally ended up in Swaziland instead of Switzerland. So they changed the name to Eswatini, which you can see on the map here. And the interesting thing about visiting Swaziland is even though it's one of the smallest countries in Africa, it's got a wide variety of topography. So you come in and it's quite hilly and mountainous, and then you carry on going towards the coast, towards Maputo, and then it plateaus and flattens. Okay, so some more interesting facts about Swaziland. Swaziland has an absolute monarchy, and it's the last one in Africa. And it's ruled by King Eswatini III. With the elections held every 5 years to determine the assembly and the senate. And in fact, when I came and visited, we saw the parliament. I think I've got the parliament building. I may have the parliament building here. Let's have a look. Oh, here it is. Here's the parliament building. It's a small country and the parliament itself is very small as well. So just some interesting facts about Swaziland. The population is composed primarily of ethnic Swazis. The language, of course, is Swazi. And Swaziland was established in the mid 18th century under the leadership of Ngwane III. And the country and the Swazi take their names from Eswatini II, the 19th century king, under whose rule the country was expanded and unified. Its boundaries were drawn up in 1881 in the midst of the scramble for Africa. That's when all the European countries were trying to take bits of Africa. And after the Second Boer War, There was the war between the English and the Dutch. The kingdom was recognized by the name Swaziland under the British High Commission. That was in 1903. It gained independence in 1968, and in 2018 they changed the name of Swaziland to Eswatini. Now what I'm going to be presenting today is, I went with my family and we did a little road trip through Swaziland. I'm gonna show you some of the highlights of places you can visit if you come to Swaziland, and I would like to also share some tips. So the first place we're gonna go to was the first place when I entered Swaziland. Let me just show you the king. That's the king, King Eswatini III. That photo was actually taken in right next to the Parliament. There's the National Museum, and that photo was from there. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But the first place when we drove in from South Africa, the first stop we made was at a place called the Ngwenya Glass Factory. So I've got a short little video I'm going to show you of Ngwenya Glass, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So this is Ngwenya Glass, the outside of Ngwenya Glass. It's got a really interesting story. It was founded in 1979 as a glass blowing factory called the Swazi Glass Craft on Swedish aid, and for 2 years glass blowers from Sweden trained local people in the skills of glass making. Then from 1981 to 1985 it ran, but then it closed down. And it was completely run by the Swazi people, but sadly it closed down in 85. But then there was a man that decided to take it over and build it up again. And that was in June 87. So it had been closed for 2 years. And so he spent a couple of months getting all the skilled glass blowers together, and so he worked on tracking all those original staff and started production in August of 87 of that year with 4 employees. And from that, Ngwenya Glass now employs 70 workers, including 3 of the original blowers. And Ngwenya is the Siswati name for crocodile. That's why you saw the crocodile at the back of, or at the entrance to Ngwenya Glass. And so when I visit Swaziland, like as a South African, I've always known about Ngwenya Glass. It's famous, very famous, and you saw there in the video there's some beautiful blown glass objects. But the real interesting, the great thing about Ngwenya Glass is they use 100% recycled bottles, and they get Swazi people to bring their glass, old glass, which they'll pay them for, and then it gets recycled and made into these beautiful objects. So that's a really cool community driven thing you can come see in Swaziland, Ngwenya Glass, and the glass is fantastic. They've won awards. It's now one of the top tourist attractions in Swaziland. The next stop is a really interesting mountain, and I'll be sharing some more information about Ngwenya Glass on my YouTube channel, which is linked on my Facebook group, which is linked on my YouTube channel. So this is called Sibire Rock. It's just north of Maboane, which is one of the big cities in Eswatini, and it's one of Southern Africa's most impressive geological features. I have 2 pictures of it here. This immense 3 billion year old volcanic slab rises 1,488 meters and covers some 16,500 hectares. And it's the world's largest granite dome and is the second largest rock in the world. The first one, of course, being Uluru in Australia. There's another picture of it. Massive, massive granite rock. You can hike it. You pay like a small amount, and there are people, guides that will take you to the top. But an amazing place to visit, and so cool to be able to see the second biggest rock in the world and the biggest granite dome in the world. So those would be my two of my tips. Places to visit if you're coming to visit. Stop by Ngwenya Glass. Stop by at the mountain if you want to do some hiking. Climb up Sabide. It's an amazing place. It's like Uluru. You don't find many places like that. The next place I'm gonna show you is this is a cultural village. Now, usually when I travel, I really don't like these cultural places. It feels very forced. But I really like this one. So this one, I'm gonna put this. Let me get the video up again. Oh, I put the video really low. There we go. I'm just gonna close and open it again. Where are we? Ah, there. Okay. Okay, there we are. Oh, this is the Matenga Nature Reserve and Cultural Village. And Swaziland has just a really interesting culture. And so the two reasons to come and visit here, I'll play the video now, is to see the cultural village, and then also to hear the traditional Swazi dances. So set up against the backdrop of the mountains here is a replica of a mid-19th century Swazi village. And when you come here, they explain you get to understand the Swazi way of life, how a family unit was organized. What's really interesting about their society is that how it was actually a matriarchal society. The grandmother had a lot of control over what happened, and it was just really fascinating hearing about how the culture worked. So the chief would give the male in the tribe some land when he got married, and if you wanted to get another wife, you could get another wife. And then of course his mother and father his mother would live with them, and it gives you a really interesting insight into how the Swazis lived. You get to see the huts they built and understand something of their culture from the past. And the other thing to go there for is to see the dance. So I'm going to play one of their dances. These performances, they've got traditional dances, and they explained to you before what the dance is about. And these happen at 11 o'clock and at 3 o'clock every day, and they're really worth checking out. We'll just watch a short clip from one of the dances. So as I say, I'm not really a fan sometimes of the cultural things, but this one I can say was really good, really soulful. Everything was explained to you, like this is a song that we would sing at like a marriage. This is a song that will be sung at a funeral. It's really explained to you, so you get like a feeling for all the songs. And so the reason to come to Matenga, well, the two main reasons is to come to see those dances, traditional dances, and really understand the cultural reasons for them, and also to have a look at what it was like to live as a Swazi in the 19th century. So it's really interesting. And then another little interesting fact. And then in that same area, you can do a little walk. I think I've got the picture. Have I got the picture? I don't have, but it's a little waterfall. And if you want to, there's also accommodation there. You can stay there. And the performers, they also wander around the village, so it just feels super authentic, and yeah, it's really cool. So you can see they're wearing traditional clothes, just like King Eswatini III. So far we've talked about visiting Ngwenya Glass, then going to Sabida Rock, and visiting Matenga Nature Reserve and Cultural Village. Now, the next place, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, is the National Museum. And I've got, let's see what I've got. I've got that's the next place we're going to go to. I'm just going to show you some pictures from the National Museum, and I'll talk about it quickly. So the National Museum explains the history of Swaziland and the royalty. The main objective of the museum is to collect, preserve, and conserve and store tangible and intangible the cultural heritage. And what I really enjoyed when we were there, there were lots of school buses coming to visit, and it was just great to see like how the kids from Eswatini also learning about their own country as well through the various exhibitions. The exhibitions in the museum show the history of the Eswatini from the Stone Age to colonialism up until independence. So I've got a few pictures to show. So you can see they're very traditional in their clothing, and here we've got some spears and shields, and of course food. Now, another interesting story, and I've got a picture of it, is that the royal family visited them. I think it was in the 60s. Actually, I took a picture. So there you have the British royal family visiting them. I think it was around the 1960s with Queen Elizabeth. You can see Queen Elizabeth there at the back, a very young Queen Elizabeth. So yeah, amazing to see all of that. Now we saw Ngwenya Glass. Another highlight to go and see is the Swazi candles. Swazi candles, here it is. It's also super famous, and in fact they sell these Swazi. You can buy these Swazi candles in Cape Town, but they're handmade here in this little shop in Swaziland. So let's go inside, and I'll tell you a bit more. So Swazi candles was started in an old cowshed on a former dairy farm in 1982 by two South African art graduates. In those days, the kingdom of Swaziland was a haven of peace amidst the troubles in South Africa, and proved to be an excellent place for setting up a cottage craft industry. The mountainous countryside was beautiful, the Swazi people were warm and friendly, and proved to be ideal partners for this industry. Here you can see some examples of these beautifully sculpted candles. The little workshop soon gained a reputation for producing unique candles and started attracting visitors. The vibrancy of the workshop, the uniqueness of the product, the skill of the artisans resulted in Swazi candles becoming one of Swaziland's premier tourist attractions. So by the mid-90s, that humble cowshed had burgeoned into an industry that now employs over 200 local people and exports candles all over the world. And they are just some beautiful examples. Now you're probably looking at those candles and wondering, how do they make that? How do they do that? Well, I've got another little short video that shows the process of how a piece of hot wax becomes a beautiful work of art. They're so beautiful, in fact, that having one, you don't want to use it as a candle. You just want to look at it, because they really are works of art. So colorful and vibrant and full of energy. They also have some amazing, they've also branched out into soaps. In fact, when I was there, we bought some soap. Now let me show you the process of how they make the Swazi candles. So this is about a 3-minute video. I'm not going to talk, but so I haven't turned on the audio, but you'll be able to see how they're made. An elephant in 5 minutes.
Elephant, 5 minutes. Maybe or less than 5 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes.
That's incredible.
And you need to be quick.
Because it's going to harden.
Yes, before it gets hard.
5 minutes. No, that's amazing.
Oh wow.
The legs are being made 4 times on the wax.
Thank you. These are the eyes. The eyes are also wet.
Oh wow. Can you see it's the yellow?
Yeah, also wet. So this is a baby one, no tusk.
It's a baby
Yeah, it's a baby
elephant.
elephant, yes.
Baby elephant.
No tusk. It's a
No
newborn.
tusks. That is beautiful. Beautiful.
And here will leave a space for the week.
Space for the
For the week.
over the week.
Yes.
Of the week. That's
Yes.
right. Oh, that's beautiful.
We have an elephant.
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, they
It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so it's just super amazing how they do that. They literally just take like a ball of wax. Next thing you know, it's an elephant, it's a tiger, it's a lion, and all made out of wax. And of course, you have a very limited amount of time to make them, and so just incredible art like artisanship and skill to make those amazing one of a kind candles from Swazi Candles. Now we're going to talk about so that's another highlight of a place to visit, and you definitely want to get if you've ever been to the waterfront in Cape Town, which is a famous mall. You'll see Swazi Candles are the thing to buy there. You see them all over. So now we're gonna go. I want to talk about the three main parks here you can see in Swaziland. And now I visited the top two, Mulwane Wildlife Sanctuary and Halane Royal National Park. So let's talk about Mulwane first. I'm gonna get a picture. Now the one at the bottom, Makaya, is actually, if you want to see rhinos, that is the place to go. But on this trip we just went to Mulwane and Halane. So we'll talk about Mulwane first. It's the oldest nature reserve in Swaziland. Okay, so this is the entrance to Mulwane. Love it. Okay, so Mulwane Wildlife Sanctuary is Swaziland's or Eswatini's oldest protected area, and it's owned and managed by a non-profit trust. The sanctuary covers 4,560 hectares in a place called the Valley of Heaven, formerly a farming and tin mining area. The area is now being rehabilitated and is now Eswatini's most frequently visited reserve. They've got abundant wildlife gracing the plains, and the southern section is predominantly open grassland plains with a middle veld vegetation stretching up into the mountain. And the great thing about this park is it's one of the parks you can just walk through. So the opportunity to see, they don't have lions or rhinos. So they do have crocodiles though. So if you were watching the video closely, you would have seen in the river there was an outline of a crocodile going past. So it's one of those places you can just walk around and take like a self-guided tour. And the cool thing about Mulwane is you can stay there. And I've got a photo of where we stayed. So they've got this old house, and behind the house they've got some traditional huts. And this is just a beautiful place. It's called Sondelise, and it's in the national park. And the most amazing thing was sometimes the animals would come into the area where the accommodation is, or you could just go by yourself and take a walk outside into the park and just walk around and walk amongst the animals. Just an amazing experience. So Mulwane, and definitely if you're there, check out Sondazela. It's one of the most super reasonable, and it's just a super location. The next nature reserve is Halane Royal National Park. So this is where we went as a family just before we exited to because Mulwane is, if I can show you a picture. Let me close the video quickly. I'll show you where it is. It's on the border of South Africa. You can see there's the Mananga border gate that you call the Lomahasha border gate. So you can, if you want to exit Swaziland, it's nice to make a little stop in Halanwe National Park. And I want to give you another tip, a tip for visiting national parks. And that tip is to go in the South African winter. So July, August is a great time to visit national parks. And the reason why that's the case is because it's very dry, and so like a lot of the vegetation has died, and so because the vegetation is dead or dying, it's not the grass isn't very high, it's more low, and so it's easier to spot animals. And the second reason is, of course, the animals are thirsty. There's not a lot of water sources, so all you need to do is go to a watering hole and you'll find a lot of the animals there. So here's a short little clip of, let me just open it again. I'm just going to open and close it, see if it appears in a different space. Okay, so this is the entrance to Halanwe Royal National Park. So prior to being designated as a public park, it was a private royal hunting ground. Halanwe means wilderness and is now in a trust for the nation created by His Majesty King Eswatini III. This is managed by an organization called Big Game Parks that also manages Halanwe and Halanwe and the other park with the rhinos. The great thing about Halanwe is they've got so many animals: lions, elephants, rhinos. You saw them there. So if you want to spot a lot of wildlife, giraffes, you're going to spot a lot of them over at Halanwe. So it's a great place to stop. Yeah, so yeah, these are some of the highlights of Swaziland that when I was researching, I thought these are places you have to go to. They really will, like, they were all really authentic and definitely places worth visiting. So if you find yourself in South Africa and you want to visit another country, I definitely recommend coming to Swaziland. First, you want to check out Ngwenya Glass. It's as you enter, leave South Africa, you can enter and visit. So Chris is asking, do you need a visa to visit? As a South African, you don't need a visa, but you just need to check for which country you're coming from. It depends on where you're coming from. I think most places wouldn't need a visa, it just depends. But if you're South African, no, you won't need a visa. Yeah, so check out Ngwenya Glass. All their beautiful items that are created are from recycled objects. Check out Swazi candles. That's awesome. And definitely check out their parks. Now, I didn't get to the third park, but if you want the opportunity to see black and white rhinos, which are actually really, it's difficult to see rhinos, especially in southern Africa, because they've been poached. But Swaziland is a great place to see them because they're protected here in Swaziland, and so you have a really great opportunity to see them. Chris, I don't know, but I would think Singapore has. So just information about Singapore. Singapore has an excellent passport, which can see the most number of countries visa-free. So if you're from Singapore, I don't think you would need to get a visa because of just how many countries you have access to. And so if you ever find yourself in South Africa, definitely consider going to Swaziland. In fact, there is from Johannesburg, if you're flying into Johannesburg, there's a bus, a special like tourist bus that will take you from the airport to Swaziland if you want to visit. Yeah, so that is Swaziland, Eswatini as it's known now. And I really recommend, if you find yourself in South Africa and you want to explore a little bit more, come to this beautiful little country. It's compact, very easy to get around. When I was there with my family, we just stayed on the Mulhawane National Park, and we did all our visits, and they were all really close, except when we went to Halane National Park as we left. So everything is super close, super easy if you're driving a car, and So what's up next? Next week we're going to be going to, I just want to get this picture down. Next week we're going to do the last in the series. We're going to go to a place that is of important cultural heritage to the Afrikaans people, and it's a really epic, iconic monument located in Pretoria. We're going to learn a little bit about the history of the Afrikaans and see this amazing space. So that's going to be the last in my South African series. So yeah, I hope you join me there, and thank you for joining me on this amazing series. If you want to find out more, I'm going to post some videos and some more information about these places I visited in Swaziland. So look for those on my Facebook group. The link is on my profile. And yeah, if you want to get notifications about more live streams I'm doing, you can just click on Buy Me a Coffee. There's a link there where you can subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. Just click on that, and I send out an email once every 3 months with new live streams. So Chris and everybody else that's watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and see you next week. Bye for now.